When we think of food, we often imagine comfort, nourishment, and even pleasure, a source of life and joy. Yet scattered across the globe are foods that defy these expectations, hiding danger beneath their innocent appearance. Some of the world's most alluring dishes can, with a single bite, unleash toxins capable of causing paralysis or even death. In these cases, the line between food and weapon blurs, raising a chilling question. Could something that looks so harmless truly be so deadly? Let's begin with a recent and urgent example. In June 2024, the US Food and Drug Administration issued an immediate warning about shellfish harvested from the Pacific Northwest, notably from Oregon and Washington. The culprit was a microscopic enemy, saxitoxin, a neurotoxin produced by certain algae. When shellfish like clams, oysters, and mussels filter these algae from the water, the toxin accumulates in their tissues. To the naked eye, the shellfish look fresh and delicious, ready for a summer feast. But inside, they may harbor a dose of poison powerful enough to paralyze. Saxitoxin is responsible for a condition known as paralytic shellfish poisoning, or PSP. The symptoms can appear quickly: numbness, tingling in the lips and fingertips, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. As the toxin spreads through the nervous system, more severe effects may follow: muscle weakness, a feeling of floating, and in the most serious cases, respiratory failure. Without intervention, paralysis of the chest muscles can stop a person from breathing, leading to death. The most chilling aspect is how little it takes. A single contaminated muscle can contain enough saxitoxin to kill an adult. There is no antidote. Only immediate emergency care and respiratory support can save a life. What makes this danger so insidious is its invisibility. Saxitoxin doesn't change the taste, smell, or appearance of shellfish. There are no telltale signs, nothing to warn the unsuspecting diner. Cooking and freezing do nothing to neutralize it. Shellfish beds in the Pacific Northwest, including places like Netarts and Tillamook Bays in Oregon and Willapa Bay in Washington, were recently closed after tests revealed alarmingly high toxin levels. This is not just a rare event. Harmful algal blooms are becoming more frequent and severe, possibly due to climate change. The next time you see a platter of glistening shellfish, remember, what looks like a delicacy might, under the wrong circumstances, become a deadly weapon. But the Pacific Northwest is only one chapter in the broader story of dangerous foods. Across continents, cultures have learned, sometimes through tragic experience, that some of the most intriguing ingredients can be laced with toxins. Consider the Japanese pufferfish, or fugu, a dish steeped in tradition and peril. Fugu's appeal is legendary, its preparation an art form. Yet, this unassuming fish contains tetrodotoxin, a neurotoxin 1,200 times more poisonous than cyanide. Just a few milligrams can paralyze the muscles, including those needed for breathing. There is no known cure. Only the skill and training of licensed chefs stand between the diner and disaster. Even so, accidents have happened, and each year, a handful of people in Japan fall victim to fugu poisoning. The risk is part of the thrill, but it is also a reminder. Nature's beauty is often matched only by its danger. The story of botulism is another cautionary tale. A warning delivered not by an exotic fish, but by a bacterium that can lurk in everyday foods. Clostridium botulinum produces the most potent toxin known to science. Just a fraction of a microgram can kill an adult. The toxin blocks nerve function, causing muscle paralysis and, if untreated, death. Botulism often strikes through foods we make at home. Improperly canned vegetables, unrefrigerated homemade salsas, garlic stored in oil, and even traditionally prepared salted or fermented fish. Symptoms can appear within hours: blurred vision, drooping eyelids, slurred speech, dry mouth, difficulty swallowing, and muscle weakness. As paralysis creeps down the body, it can eventually immobilize the muscles needed for breathing. Without the swift administration of antitoxin and intensive medical care, the outcome is grim. In Egypt, the traditional dish fisek, a salted, fermented mullet prepared for spring festivals, has been linked to outbreaks of botulism. The fish, left to ferment in the sun, can become a breeding ground for the deadly bacteria if not salted adequately. What begins as a cherished family tradition can, in moments, turn into tragedy. These are not isolated incidents, nor are they confined to strange and distant lands. The threat of foodborne toxins is as old as humanity itself. In every culture, people have learned to navigate a world where the line between sustenance and poison is razor thin. Why then do we persist in eating such dangerous foods? Why risk paralysis or death for the sake of a meal? The answer is complex, a mixture of tradition, thrill-seeking, and sometimes simple necessity. In Japan, fugu is a test of skill and bravery, a culinary rite of passage. In coastal communities, shellfish harvesting is a way of life, a tradition handed down through generations. In Egypt, fesek is inseparable from the celebration of spring. For some, the risk is an accepted part of the experience, a price worth paying for a taste of history and culture. Yet, the risks are real, ever-present, and sometimes increasing. Harmful algal blooms, like those that triggered the recent shellfish warnings in Oregon and Washington, are becoming more frequent and severe worldwide. Warmer temperatures and nutrient pollution encourage the growth of toxic algae, making shellfish poisoning a larger and more unpredictable threat. Public health agencies must remain vigilant, monitoring toxin levels and issuing warnings when danger looms. The lessons are clear. First, never assume a food is safe just because it looks appealing. Saxitoxin, tetrodotoxin, and botulinum toxin are all invisible, tasteless, and odorless. No amount of cooking, freezing, or seasoning can make them harmless. In the case of shellfish, always heed local health advisories and harvest closures. Enjoying fresh seafood is a pleasure, but only when safety is assured. Second, respect the traditions and expertise of those who prepare potentially dangerous foods. In Japan, fugu chefs train for years, mastering the delicate art of removing toxic organs. In communities where fermentation or curing is a tradition, proper technique and hygiene are essential. Shortcuts, improvisation, or ignorance can turn a meal into a weapon. Third, be especially cautious with home preservation. Botulism is a risk whenever foods are canned, pickled, or stored without proper refrigeration. Follow tested recipes, use the correct equipment, and never taste food that looks or smells off. The consequences of a single mistake can be dire. These warnings are not intended to frighten, but to inform. Humanity has always walked a fine line between hunger and harm. What makes a food dangerous is not just the presence of toxins, but our knowledge or ignorance of how to avoid them. Science and tradition both play crucial roles. Modern testing methods can detect toxins at trace levels, allowing authorities to close shellfish beds before people fall ill. Public health campaigns spread awareness, teaching home cooks how to can and ferment foods safely. At the same time, respect for traditional knowledge is vital. Those who have lived with these dangers for generations often possess wisdom born of experience, passed down in recipes, rituals, and taboos. The world is full of edible wonders, but also of hidden hazards. Some foods are designed by nature to defend themselves with potent poisons, a chemical shield against predators. Others become dangerous only when mishandled, fermented, or left to rot. Our relationship with these foods is a testament to human ingenuity, curiosity, and sometimes hubris. So the next time you encounter an exotic dish, a plate of shimmering shellfish or a jar of homemade pickles, take a moment to consider the risks and rewards. What separates food from weapon is knowledge, preparation, and respect for the power that nature has hidden within. In the end, the most dangerous foods are not necessarily those that look strange or intimidating. Sometimes the most innocent-seeming morsels are the ones to fear. The shellfish glistening on ice, the golden fillet of fugu, the homemade salsa waiting on the picnic table. Any of these, under the wrong circumstances, can paralyze or kill. But with awareness, vigilance, and a healthy respect for the invisible dangers, we can continue to enjoy the bounty of the world's kitchens safely. Food can be a source of delight, a celebration of life and culture. Yet, as history and recent warnings remind us, even the cutest, most harmless-looking bite can sometimes hide the deadliest of surprises. The key is to savor, but never underestimate the power of what we eat.